Hi, in today's class, we will discuss about the current density. Generally, density is per unit volume, but we define current density as current density is denoted by the symbol J, and current density J is equal to current divided by area normal to current. Area normal to current. So current density J is the ratio, or it is the magnitude of electric current flowing per unit area normal to it. This is the magnitude of electric current density. The magnitude of electric current density is current per unit area normal to current. Let me tell you, current is a scalar quantity, but current density is a vector quantity. Then the question which I am asking you is, in which direction this current density is all about? The direction of current density is same as the direction of electric current. So mathematically I can say current density J is equal to I divided by A perpendicular I prefer to write. A perpendicular means the area, the plane perpendicular to the direction of current, and I will say this is I cap. What is I cap meaning? I cap is the unit vector in the direction of electric current. So please understand that what is I cap? I cap unit vector in the direction of current. Current density is a vector quantity. Then the question, what will be the SI unit of current density? SI unit of current density, it is ampere per meter square. The SI unit of current density is ampere per meter square. That you can easily get. The SI unit of electric current is ampere. The SI unit of area is meter square. So SI unit of current density is going to be ampere per meter square. Now let us consider an expression for the current density through a conductor. Okay, let me consider a conductor of cross-sectional radius R. Let us assume that this is the direction of electric current inside the conductor. The direction of electric current is in the same direction, or generally current flows through the outer surface of this conductor only. The direction of electric current is shown here. Let me take a cross section. Let me take a cross section likewise, which makes an angle. Okay, this is the cross section I am considering, which makes an angle theta with the perpendicular. Okay, let this area be A dash. Okay, now let's take that part into consideration. This A dash. Now as from the figure we can see this is the direction of electric current I. This is the area normal to each. This angle is given as theta. Okay, let us denote these cross sections just by lines for our convenience. This is area A dash. This is radius R. This is theta. Okay, let us take it as A itself, no problem. And now this is A. This is the direction of electric current. Now according to our knowledge, current density J is equal to current divided by magnitude of current density J is equal to current divided by A perpendicular. A perpendicular means what? A perpendicular means area normal to current. Okay, let us take it like OPQ. The question I am asking you is, what is the cross section perpendicular to this current? The cross section perpendicular to this current is which one? the cross section that is perpendicular to the current. You can see from the figure, it is I divided by OP. So treat OP as cross section, not just the length alone. So what I mean is, this is the situation. Okay, just a minute. This is the cross section I have taken. This is the perpendicular. Now this is one area, and you can see you can apply Pythagoras theorem by forming the third side of the triangle. This is A means this is A cos theta, right? This is A means this is A, this side will be A cos theta, is it no? Because this is adjacent side. So I can say this is I divided by A cos theta. Ready? I divided by A cos theta. This is what I am getting the expression for the current density J is equal to. J is equal to I divided by A cos theta. Now look at that expression, that is important for us. From here I can say I is equal to J into A cos theta. Is it no? I is equal to J A cos theta. From this one, J, what is J? In this case, J is the magnitude of current density. What is A? The magnitude of the area of the plane under consideration. This is the plane under consideration. This is the shaded portion represents the plane under consideration. The area of that plane is A. Now what is theta here? Theta is the angle between. So surely I can say this is the direction of this area vector A. So I am representing here itself, this is A. Question I am asking is, what is this angle? This angle is going to be theta, no doubt at all. This will be 90 minus theta. This is going to be theta again. Right? So looking at the figure, I can say this is the direction of J. This is the direction of area, that is area vector. Area vector, as we all know, it is always perpendicular to the plane. This is the direction of area vector. Now we have to say this is the angle theta. Now you will ask me a question, sir, this is the direction of current. No, I told you the direction of a current density vector is also in the direction of current. Current density always act in the direction of current. So which means current and current density are having the same direction. So this is the direction of J as it is the direction of I. Now you can see this is J, this is A. Theta is the angle between J and A. Theta, mind it carefully. Theta is the angle between the vectors J and A. So I can say I is equal to J A cos theta. What is J? The magnitude of current. What is A? The magnitude of the area of the plane. What is theta? Angle between J and A. This is not at all a new idea for you, because you have learned about this idea in first year, where you have learned that modulus of A into modulus of B into cos theta is equal to what? Modulus A into modulus B into cos theta is equal to A dot B. That means the magnitude of current into magnitude of area into cos of the angle between the two vectors gives you the answer as J dot A. So mathematically, electric current. Now this again signifies why electric current is a scalar quantity. It's a scalar product of current density and area. Electric current is the scalar product of current and area. Therefore, again I will tell you, electric current is a scalar quantity. Many situations I have heard that current is taken as a tensor quantity. I'm sorry, it's not a tensor of it's a tensor of degree 0. That is what is called as scalar quantities. A tensor of degree 0 is what is called a scalar quantity, but generally tensors are considered to be quantities with degree 2 or more. But here you have to understand that electric current is a scalar quantity. Electric current is a scalar quantity because it is obtained as the scalar product of current and area. Now I will tell you, for when current density depends on cross section. When current density depends on cross section, that is when in variable cross sections and all, In such cases, we have to use the integration. In that case, current density current I is equal to J dot dA. That is, when current density varies from area one cross section to another. When current density varies from one cross section to another, in that situation we will write current I is equal to integral J dot dA, that is surface integral. Surface integral J dot dA will be the expression for current density. Hope it is clear to you. So what is current density means? It is current per unit area normal to it. It is a vector quantity. The direction of that vector is or in the direction of the electric current. And from here the electric current is obtained as a scalar product of current density and area. Now the next discussion for us is Ohm's law in vector form. Ohm's law in vector form. Let us consider Ohm's law in vector form. Consider a conductor. Of certain cross section connected to a supply, something like say a potential V. Let L be the length of the conductor. Let me take a certain cross section of this conductor. Say delta X. And as I told you on the other day, since the conductor is connected to an external supply voltage, electrons inside this conductor will drift from one end of the conductor to the other end. In this case, it will be drifting from negative potential to the positive potential. But since current is specified for positive charges, I will take the direction of current likewise. This is the direction of current. Okay. Now, electrons are drifting in this direction. This is the direction of the drift of electrons, and electrons will drift in the direction opposite to the direction of the electric field. Current is opposite to the direction of the drift of the electrons. Last day we studied about drift speed. Vd is equal to E by m into tau, where E is the magnitude of electric charge, small e, capital E external electric field, m mass of the electron, and tau is the relaxation time. Relaxation time is average time interval between two successive collisions. Average time interval between two successive collisions is called relaxation time. Okay. Now let us consider a cross section. Let the area of this cross section be A. So I will say A, area of cross section. Okay. A is the area of cross section. Let small n be the number of free electrons per unit volume. Let small n be the number of free electrons per unit volume, or it is the number density of free electrons. Okay, let us consider that. Let delta T be the time interval to drift over a distance delta X. Delta T be the time interval to drift over a distance delta X. In that situation, we can straight away say Vd is equal to delta X divided by delta T. So what is Vd? Drift speed. It is the average speed of drift. And so Vd is equal to delta X by delta T. We will be requiring it later. Now our requirement is to calculate the electric current first of all. According to our knowledge, I is equal to delta Q divided by delta T. What is delta Q? Delta Q is the number of charge carriers crossing in a time delta T, right? Delta Q is the number of charge carriers crossing in a time delta T. Now let me explain that point in detail. So let the first electron or first set of electrons reach here at a time t equal to 0. That many electrons will leave here at a time delta t, right? Because the time taken to travel from here is delta t, is it no? Delta t is the time taken to travel from here to here. Now my question is, how many electrons will be there in the region marked here in that time? So those electrons which have reached here at time t equal to 0 will be reaching here at a time t is equal to delta t. Ready? And those many electrons will be reaching here at a time t is equal to delta t. Then some other electron, okay, one set of electrons are here, other set is here, other set is here, so other set is here. Just like the way electrons are moving from this cross section to this cross section. So my requirement is, I want to find out the number of free charge carriers in the shaded region. Let delta n be the number of charge carriers. Okay, before that I can write delta Q is equal to delta n into E. What is delta n? It's the number of charge carriers in the region. Okay, let us take that point into consideration. I can write delta n is equal to, we know small n. What is small n? Number of charge carriers. Small n into delta V. What is delta V? It is the volume of this region, the volume of the so considered region. Delta n is equal to n into delta V. Okay. Now, delta V can be written as, so this length is delta x. The volume of the cylindrical portion which I have considered here, volume of the cylindrical portion is n into A into delta x. Volume is base area into area of the circular surface into length. Now, from here we have, okay, fine. So, delta n, which means I can say delta Q is equal to delta n into E. That already I have written here. Which is equal to delta n is n into A into. From here I can write, excuse me, delta x is equal to Vd into delta t, right? From this equation, I can write delta x is equal to Vd into delta t. So I'm going to write that Vd into delta t, that gives you delta n. That should be multiplied with E. That should be multiplied with E. Ready? Now I want to get electric current I. Electric current I is equal to delta Q divided by delta T. Delta Q divided by delta T. So what is delta Q by delta T? From this equation you can easily arrive at the answer. Delta Q divided by delta T. Delta Q divided by delta T. When I divide with the delta T, so N is here, E is here, A is here, Vd is here. So this is a very important equation in the board exam point of view. The expression for electric current I is equal to NEAVD is a very, very important equation. Okay. Now we will continue. So it is clear to you. Okay. Now from here I am just wiping it off. So we have Vd is equal to, I just start it on the board. Vd is equal to EE by M into tau. This is the magnitude of the drift speed. Now I can write electric current I is equal to, I am substituting for Vd, NEA into, Vd is EE by M into tau. This will give you electric current I is equal to NE square tau by M into A into E. Already, what is your N? N is the number of free electrons per unit volume. E is the charge of electron. Tau is relaxation time. M is the mass of the electron. From here, current density J is equal to I by A. Current density J is equal to I by A. I by A is equal to N E square tau divided by M into E. Now, this is the expression we are at the moment. J is equal to I by A, this is equal to N E square tau divided by M into E. What is N? Number density of free electrons, which is a constant for a given conductor. What is E? Charge of the electron, which is a universal constant, or elementary charge, which is a universal constant. What is M? Mass of the electron, that also is a constant, universal constant. What is tau? Relaxation time, which is a constant at a particular temperature. That means this is a temperature dependent constant. This is a material dependent constant. That means this much is a constant for a given material at a particular temperature. This thing is a constant for a given material at a particular time. So let me write it as this is equal to sigma E, where sigma, so this is the important equation I am arriving at. J is equal to sigma E, where sigma is equal to N E square tau by M is called it's a material. I repeat, it's a material and temperature dependent constant. Material and temperature dependent constant, and this is called electrical conductivity. This is called electrical conductivity of a material. Electrical conductivity. And J is equal to sigma E. J is equal to sigma E. This is called Ohm's law in vector form. This is called Ohm's law in vector form. Ohm's law in vector form. J is equal to sigma E is called Ohm's law in vector form. Now, this is not what you have learned in 10th class, right? You have learned as what V is equal to IR is what you have learned. Let us try to arrive at here. Consider a conductor subjected to a potential difference or conductor of length L. Subjected to a potential difference V. Consider a conductor of length L subjected to a potential difference V. In that situation, we know that the electric field is potential difference per unit length. Magnitude of the electric field is potential difference per unit length, which implies, okay, the above equation, let me put as equation number 1, this is equation number 2. So substituting equation 2 in equation 1, we get what? J. J I will write as I divided by A. J is I by A, right? Current density is current per unit area. That is equal to sigma into V by L. Or V is equal to, V is the potential difference, L divided by sigma A into I. What is L? L is the length of the conductor, which is a constant. What is A? A is the area of cross section of the conductor. A is the area of cross section of the conductor, that is a constant. Sigma is electrical conductivity, that is a material and temperature dependent constant, which implies we will arrive at that famous equation V directly proportional to I. V directly proportional to I, or V by I is equal to R. From here I can say V by I is equal to L divided by sigma A. This is the expression for the electrical resistance. Electrical resistance R is equal to L divided by sigma A. Hi, this is the answer. Now you will say, sir, this is not what we have learned. What you have learned is rho L by A. What you have learned is this equation. This is also equal to rho L by A. Then what is the relation between rho and sigma? What is the relation between rho and sigma? Relation between rho and sigma, which gives you, okay, with your potential meter I am using this base. So from here I can say, from comparing these two sides I can say 1 by sigma is equal to rho. Right? Now sigma is n square rho by m, which gives this is equal to m divided by n square tau. So rho is equal to m divided by n square tau. So this is what is for today. I hope all these equations are clear to you. So I want you to study regularly. So next class will be a continuation of the same. Thank you.